Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Some tough Vikings news over the weekend, but Luke Braun has a trivia game for later, so there will be some levity.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. My trivia game will almost certainly annoy Arif.
Great. My name is Arif from the Wide Left Substack. I really need to know if Jordan Addison's dog is okay.
Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. 12 days away from training camp. This season just can't possibly get here soon enough.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hassan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talk's Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Welcome in a brand new week on the Minnesota Football Party, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen of the week. For your second listen, check out Locked On Vikings with Luke Braun. Produces great daily Vikings content on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, where you can also find this show. And please subscribe on YouTube at the Locked On Sports Minnesota channel. I'm Sam Ekstrom. You met the Lukes. You met Arif. And we've got plenty to get into today, including the latest Jordan Addison incident. Arrested for suspicion of DUI over the weekend in LA. We'll react to that and talk about the implications. We'll continue answering Vikings training camp questions based on the recent Athletic article by our friend Alec Lewis. And Luke Braun, for a July 15th, has concocted some Vikings trivia that will, he says, enrage Arif Hassan. I called you Enreef. Arif Hassan. That might just go with
it. It's like M dash, N dash, a dash.
Enreef. Part M dash at this point.
Enreef.
We are presented today by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. That was Locked On NFL. Terms apply. All right. This show is meant to be a diversion from the heavy political topics of the world. And
have there been some heavy political topics recently, Sam?
Anything
in the world?
Not my arena. How am I to know?
I don't follow CNN on Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
Unfortunately, we don't have great news off the top of this show either. Jordan Addison, this was late Saturday into early Sunday in LA, falls asleep at the wheel and blocks a lane of traffic near Los Angeles Airport, LAX. And he's been arrested on suspicion of DUI. We don't know much more than that. Did I mention he was in a Rolls Royce? This is not the Lambo of last year. This is the Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
but this is now 2 strikes, 2 different vehicles, 2 incidents involving Jordan Addison. He, of course, drove 140 in the Twin Cities last year in the Lambo. He did not receive any official discipline for that. He will be receiving discipline for this one. Suspicion of DUI. We haven't heard a blood alcohol level. We aren't actually entirely sure, unless there's something that I missed in the reports, that it was alcohol. Could be a different substance. Either way, Arif, we'll start with you on this. Your initial reaction to the Jordan Addison news over the weekend.
There's like a reason I didn't tweet very much about this story, and I think it's because of the lack of details, right? So we don't know, what exactly had happened. I do know that generally speaking, if you are found asleep in your vehicle on a highway, that probably a substance of some sort was involved. Probably a substance of some sort is not enough for me to start firing off tweet takes, but I think we have like a decent understanding. I'm open to the possibility that there are things that we don't know yet, but I do think it is probable that something is amiss. And If that's the case, right, and it's a reasonable if that's the case, it's beyond disappointing, right? Because we know about his history of driving 140 on a highway, and at the time I suggested that the reaction to him driving 140 was surprisingly, voracious, right? People were very mad at the time, and I thought, hey, he made a huge mistake, and he should be, disciplined for it, and we have a right to be disappointed in him. But I thought it was surprising how mad everyone was at the time. But I think here there are significantly greater reasons to be really upset with what he did, not just because he's already had a moving violation in a car that put people at risk, but you very recently learned that a teammate passed away due to what police suspect, at least, a DUI or a drunk driving incident. Like, this, more than any other time, is a time that you would hope that people who knew Kyrie Jackson would be at least a little bit more careful when it came to their behavior behind the wheel. And I think it's fair to say that if this was something that he had intentionally done, taken a substance and started driving, which it seems to be, again, I don't know, but it seems to be the case, then if that's the case, then it's beyond disappointing. It's insulting to Kyrie Jackson's memory, honestly, that this happened so recently after Jackson's passing. And so I'll reserve, my anger for when more details emerge, but it's impossible to view this in any other context outside of what just happened with Kyrie Jackson and what Addison did last year. Those are the two most present incidents in my mind as we learn this news.
Spinman.
Imagine leaving your house, you can't find your keys, so you got to grab the set from your second car. The second car in the garage collecting dust is a Rolls Royce. I'm stuck at that part. Unbelievable. I'll just echo what Arif said. To be fair, still waiting for all the details to come out, which that could be an hour from now, that could be a day, that could be a week. But as of now, just knowing what we know, just how it's being presented on paper, it's pretty brutal, man. This one's tough to spin, tough to swallow. It's bad look from just about every single angle. He's only been a professional football player for 1.5 off seasons. This is already his second big off the field mistake, both having to do with getting behind the wheel of a car and potentially putting other people's lives at risk. And obviously, and Arif already touched on this, but obviously, the thing that kind of stings and hurts the most, we've all been just very deeply reminded just in the past week how dangerous, how selfish that is to not just yourself, but everybody else on the road too. So, especially in the face of all that stuff, which is still super fresh. It's also super raw. It's on everybody's minds. Like, the dust hasn't even settled from all that yet. It's hard not to think, dude, what are we doing? What's going on? Because it's such a preventable mistake. If he's found guilty or pleads guilty, etc. And again, we'll see. I mean, he'll get his day in court, but and again, don't really want to take what little info we have and run too far with it, because things could change. Never know till you know. But either way, if any of this is even remotely accurate, I mean, he's definitely looking at a suspension, whether that's handed down by the NFL or by the Vikings. If it's the NFL, we know how that goes. That probably wouldn't unfold for months and months and months down the road. But just going off similar cases in the past, Marcus May was a guy who was brought up. He pleaded no contest to a D-dub last year. He got suspended 3 games. Wes Phillips, obviously, another one right in the backyard not long ago, got suspended by the team 3 weeks after he pleaded down to reckless driving, I believe. So it feels like if he does get suspended when this is all said and done, 3 games or 3 weeks, however you want to say it, probably like the ground floor. But being this is already his second offense, being it's coming off the heels of the whole Kyrie Jackson incident, pending what the ultimate charge is, something like 4 to 6 games could definitely be on the table as well. So we'll see.
Interesting. I don't know if there's precedent for teams getting overly involved with this process. Feels like they usually let the league handle it. I think the context around this might be an exception where the Vikings would step in because of last year's incident plus the Kyrie Jackson context. Still strikes me as something that'll be handled by the league. I don't know for sure. Luke Braun. Oh, and I did want to add too, you said 1.5 years of pro football, Luke Inman. You know what Jordan Addison got presumably paid to play at USC that last year? $3.5 million, which is actually more than he makes on average with the Vikings. Wow. So 1.5, maybe make it 2.5.
Yeah, maybe make it 2.5.
That's very funny.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, he averages like 3.3, I think, with Minnesota.
Yeah, I like everybody else said, I will wait to pass too much judgment until we have details and confirmations of things. The initial moments when a story like this comes out can be very murky and can give you the wrong idea a lot. So I don't mind being the last person to be mad. But if you're mad because it's a DUI and because of Kyrie Jackson, that's fair. That you shouldn't do that, but you can't do anything about what Jordan Addison does. You just do stuff about what you do. So just one more reason not to drive drunk. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the spirit of talking about the uncertainty, not knowing exactly the details, we can ask the question, okay, it's interesting. He was released 2 hours after getting arrested. It seems relatively quick if he was intoxicated.
Yeah, if you were like super wasted, they usually would keep you in the drunk tank, no?
Yes,
yeah, make you sleep it off.
Agreed. That's the one kind of, I don't want to call it a red flag, but it just does seem kind of
But like,
odd, because
I don't need to be an investigator on this. I'll just wait until until time.
We'll
find out soon.
It's an interesting detail that could suggest a million other things that we hadn't considered.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to kind of parse what that
means. It is somewhat out of the
norm,
norm, though, I will say that. Somewhat
but yeah,
out of the norm.
I think that it's always important to just kind of understand that new details can emerge that will change your understanding, right? Because there's actually a lot of legitimate reasons that somebody might end up asleep behind the wheel. That's not their fault. I mean, some people develop new conditions that give them narcolepsy, right? I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm saying that there's always a case where something emerges that changes your understanding or context of a situation. I think it's likely that Addison probably did something wrong here. But until we know more, and knowing that the police haven't released a BAC, knowing that the police, released Addison fairly early instead of letting him sleep off whatever he might have been under the influence of, there's already the possibility that there's something a little bit different about the story. Maybe not. Maybe the police just did that. I don't know. But it's always important to understand there could always be a detail that will change your understanding of a story like this.
Yeah, I mean, we recently, and this is the only time ever that Justin Timberlake and Jordan Addison will be in the same story. We recently had a celebrity story. Justin Timberlake was arrested for suspected DUI. He did not consent to a BAC test. And people said, well, why wouldn't you, how can you plead? And he pled not guilty. How could you plead not guilty? You have no leg to stand on here. You were driving erratically. And now he's got witnesses saying, oh, no, we only served him one drink. And he was trying to follow a friend home and make sure they were safe. There's just some, there is additional information that can come out when you don't have all the details. That's one example of it. But in terms of punishment, I've already seen conflicting reports. I've seen from people who are saying the NFL has a guaranteed 1-game suspension policy. I couldn't find the verbiage around that in the CBA. I'm not sure where it's written out that way. I've also seen people projecting 3. And chime in. Yeah, Braun, do you have anything on
my understanding,
how this will work?
My understanding is that there is no blanket policy on any kind of personal conduct matters. It'll go to their third party arbitrator, and then that person just makes a judgment call, which means it is not guaranteed to be consistent with other similar cases at all. There could be a reason, there could be a different kind of climate around it. That's the kind of thing. And it's a third party arbitrator instead of somebody with a vested interest in the finances of the NFL, which is better than it used to be. Because he used to just be Roger Goodell himself, but who is still heavily involved in that process. But my understanding is that there's not there are guidelines, but there's no hard lines.
In general, the expectation when it comes to the NFL handing down punishments, we all assume that if something does happen, it's going to take a while, right? Rashee Rice still hasn't happened. And the Alvin Kamara thing just popped in my head. That whole thing took forever years.
Yeah.
So if it is,
it might be a 2025 suspension.
Yeah. If it's just the NFL, which Sam, it sounds like you are leaning that maybe the Vikings don't do the punishment. Maybe it's just waiting on the NFL to see, I don't know, see where they go from once we find out more
See,
details.
you're right. I would have to see all the cases in the
Sure.
past and what teams have done. I don't often see teams intervene if they don't have to. There have been plenty of crimes committed. There have been plenty of arrests made without teams getting involved, right? I think last year, I think Kevin O'Connell said all the right stuff after Jordan Addison's driving incident. They did not punish him team-wise. I think someone pointed out in the comments that he did plead down to
a misdemeanor reckless driving.
Misdemeanor. Yes.
Yeah.
He was legally punished. He was not NFL or team punished last year. I think that the question is like, what will the team do if this is going to be drawn out this entire year? Would they step in and suspend him preemptively a game and see if that knocks some? Because if it is a subjective, arbiter who's stepping in and punishing Addison from the league standpoint, would they see a team-issued suspension and say that's good enough, or that will dock some of the suspension later
Soften
on?
the blow a little bit.
Yeah, might be a proactive measure for the team to take. I think that's also something to consider. I don't know when we will hear again from the Vikings on this matter, but they do have rookies reporting tomorrow. Of course, that doesn't include Addison. Does include the coaching staff, so they'll be in the building. I'm not sure of media availability around the rookie report. I think they've kept that a little more under wraps in recent years. So we might not hear anything for a week until the team gets to training camp, and then I'm sure we'll probably have more legal info at that point. The team will know what's up. Jordan Addison will obviously be reporting and have to give a very uncomfortable press conference that I'm already uncomfortable for, because he's just not good at them at this stage of his career. But you got to ask him the questions. He's got to stand up there and answer them.
Yeah.
And that'll be a big test, I think, for, after something like this happens, you need to show some contrition. You need to show that you are going to grow up, because this is 2 strikes. And I think people forgave him pretty quickly for the first strike. And I don't know if that's going to occur for the second strike. Like, do you think this will linger with Addison as the year plays out, or will it dissipate like last year? It's hard to know.
This is also like a lot worse. Allegedly,
Potentially,
like
yes.
driving fast
Yes.
is not
Potentially.
driving drunk.
Driving 140, man, is reckless. Like that is
reckless
that is so
is
reckless.
is one thing. Drunk is, I think, on another level.
Yeah, so I'm with Luke on this. This is the take that I had last year when I was really surprised at the level of anger that people had towards him. Which is that if you're driving 140 at night on a highway that's largely empty, you're doing something very dangerous. You're putting people's lives at risk. But it is safer than driving at a high speed on a highway while drunk, because of things like reaction time, your ability to judge who is not on the highway, your ability to judge distances, things like that. Like it is, I think, fairly significantly different.
Just decision making in general. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, decision making. I mean, that is lacking right now. The decision making score on Addison's pretty low. Got to get better. Inexcusable. We'll move on. We'll talk about training camp storylines from the Alec Lewis piece. We started that series last week. We'll continue it today, and Luke Braun trivia coming up a little bit later on the Minnesota Football Party. It is brought to you today by Game Time, an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier, with the prices going down the closer you get to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals that can save up to 60% for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. They've got the zone deals where you choose the section, Game Time chooses the seats. All-in pricing, no hidden fees, panoramic views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, where Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find better seats. It takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. That's long and the short of it. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Training camp storylines move on. Again, we're glad you're with us on the Minnesota Football Party. Make sure to check out the Minnesota Basketball Party on Wednesdays, Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays. Tomorrow, he has on Gophers star running back Darius Taylor. Make sure to check out that interview. All right. We got through the first 3 items of Alec Lewis's training camp questions. We start with number 4 today. How many quarterbacks will the Vikings keep, and who will they be? Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, the 1 and 2 locks, Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall battling for 3 and possibly 4. Who do they keep, and how many, Lucan?
I doubt they keep 4. 4 seems like a lot. I think ultimately this is going to come down to not only like the last preseason game. It's going to come down to the wire, but I think it has more so to do with how comfortable J.J. McCarthy looks, how comfortable they are with J.J., more than Sam Darnold. Because if for some reason you get to the end of that preseason, the end of the training camp, and all the practices, things like that, and you're like, JJ, if something were to happen to Darnold, do we feel comfortable throwing JJ out there already? If the answer was no, I feel like they'll probably lean more Nick Mullins. If JJ's lighting everything on fire and he looks like he's absorbing everything and developing day by day and progressing, and all of a sudden you say, okay, if Sam got hurt, we do feel comfortable throwing JJ out there in a pinch, then maybe they want to keep the developmental factor as their QB through with Jaron Hall. Ultimately, if I had to guess, I think they keep Mullins and try to squeeze Jaron Hall on the practice squad. That's a gamble anytime you're trying to squeeze a quarterback on your practice squad, especially one that was, even though it's day 3, that was drafted. But ultimately, I think if I had to guess, that's probably what I'd guess.
I'm with you on that. That's the Alec Lewis point of view as well. But I don't know who's bringing Jaron Hall on their active roster. So he would have to elect for a different practice squad. I think he stays in the building. Now, he might see another situation and say, I'm QB4 in Minnesota. This sucks. I'd like to go somewhere where I'm at least QB3 and try to work my way up. But I think you're right. Practice squad is probably the play for Jaron Hall. Anybody disagree?
I don't know if he stays on the practice squad even. I just don't know if you need 4 QBs in the building. Because of the active roster rules and because of the emergency third QB rule and stuff, you can have 3 QBs dressed at a given time. It just makes the whole thing feel a lot safer. I don't really know what a 4th one in the building really does for you. If you do,
it gives you a guy that next year, when you may not have Darnold and may not have Mullins, you would have someone that knows your system for 2 years.
Yes, but also that you can spend that
guy be
spot
Mullins
on a receiver. I don't know. Obviously, 16 practice squad spots or however many. I can never keep track of how many
16, I believe,
are now.
With an international exception and another thing.
Right, yeah. So obviously you've got a lot more room than you had 4 years ago, right? But I still think that the likelihood that you will tap into your 4th quarterback, not even just this year, but ever, is pretty low. And it's an interesting case because I think in most scenarios, you probably have 3 quarterbacks, one of them on the practice squad. Here, I don't know that the Vikings have any ability to move any of their top 3 quarterbacks to the practice squad, right? Nick Mullins would be the only one that you could conceive of, and I think he just gets signed by somebody if he gets waived. There's no way he makes it to a practice squad. So that only leaves Jaron Hall, and that makes him your 4th quarterback. I just don't see, A, why you couldn't re-sign Nick Mullins next year, but B, why you would spend what is typically a fairly valuable practice squad spot on a guy that you just kind of never see having it and a guy that you've actively kind of replaced. So I don't know, given that the Vikings probably need to develop some depth at safety, at cornerback, at all these other positions, I don't know that they'll spend a practice squad spot. The only reason they would is because of how large practice squads are right now versus 4 years ago.
Yeah, did they not have 4 at one point last year? Was that after Cousins got hurt? Because they brought Mannion in. They had Mannion, Hall.
I don't know if they ever had 4 active, 4 that you could theoretically dress for a game.
Yeah.
When they were bringing in Mannion and stuff, that was their Cousins was already on IR, and you also had Jaron Hall and concussion protocol and stuff.
Well, and Nick Mullins was on injured reserve for most of
a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year.
I think the comfortable amount of quarterbacks to have that you can put pads on is 3. You don't really ever need to bring more than 3 to a game. And if you do walk out of a game and 2 of your QBs are injured, you don't need to have the 4th one already in the building. Then you just you start, finding street free agents and stuff. I don't know if
honestly,
the
if
fourth
that
QB is useful enough depth, more useful depth than your eighth receiver or whatever guy that can play special teams.
You could probably trade for not that much for Jaren Hall back, and I think the risk
or poach him off the practice squad he's on. Yeah,
right. Yeah, like the risk that you're taking of having to sign him from the practice squad he's on, or trade a 2027 seventh or whatever it is, right, is fairly small, and you would take the probability of spending a small amount to get him back over the probability that your like 16th skill position player or whatever could develop into somebody that's useful on special teams. Like I think that's the calculation. I will say there's a good chance that if they keep 3, the incentive to have someone on the active roster for the third emergency QB rule might play a role, but for the Vikings specifically, I don't know, just because I think in a normal scenario without that third quarterback rule, you'd still have 3 on your active, not practice squad.
I also, just on Hall himself, like I don't want to super overreact to one bad half of one bad game. In the same way, we probably shouldn't have overreacted to a good half of a game, which is what he played basically between Cousins going down in Green Bay and then the like 2 drives he played in Atlanta.
Such a good 2 drives though.
It was a good 2 drives, and then it was a bad. It was like a good 22 dropbacks and then like a bad 23 dropbacks. Like it was kind of up and down rookie. Like there is a world where he takes to the footwork stuff he was supposed to take to a little bit better. He's got a better handle on the playbook, and he just beats Nick Mullins out because Nick Mullins can't stop throwing interceptions in the preseason. Like there is a world where Jaren Hall just like proves to be the better. Like that's going to be what it comes down to. They're going to compete in camp. Like who has the better preseason, they get the third job.
Yeah, we shouldn't discount that possibility entirely. I do think it's unlikely, but
would it be an automatic?
It's not what I would pick.
Would it be an automatic yes if somebody said we'll give you a 7th for Nick Mullins? Automatic yes?
No.
For Nick Mullins, no. What? Absolutely
well,
not.
you just said, well, if Jaren Hall is somewhat even, and you can get a 7th,
that's
for
not
Nick
automatic now though. You added another condition.
Okay, I'm adding another condition.
Yeah.
If Nick Mullins is 10% better than Jaren Hall, but you can get a 7th for Nick Mullins, do you do that? You do that?
That's a better deal.
If we know he's 10% better, yeah.
Like if we know that Jaren Hall can be that, because what you do, like, it's not worth a 7th to expose yourself to the possibility that Darnold goes down and now JJ McCarthy has to go in before he's ready because the only other guy we have in the building is Jaren Hall and we don't trust him. You have to trust him to be able to like set up that situation.
Right. In the scenario where you trust Jaren Hall to be 90% of Nick Mullins, yeah, I would trade Nick Mullins for a 7th. Probably you could get a little bit more for him. Not a ton more.
I think so.
I mean like a 6th, but like probably not.
I wish they had found one win out of all those games that he played in last year. Because the fact that like he didn't win a game feels like it works.
He won him the Vegas game, man.
Deserves to.
Game-winning drive.
No, that's
game-winning drive.
He's the one that
Inman, you making that deal?
Scored the points.
Yeah, I'm sprinting. If it's a 6,
he moved that offense more than Dobbs could. I mean,
more than happy with a 7th, Sam. I am.
Okay. Tougher
God, this
question.
season's going to be so funny the further away we get from it.
What is the percentage chance that the Vikings they make a Dobbs move by bringing in Darnold for 6 games, like the Cardinals brought in Dobbs, and then trading him at the deadline?
Trading Darnold at the deadline?
Trading Darnold at the deadline. What is the percentage chance that occurs?
God, you have to believe so much in Nick Mullins to do that.
Boy.
Or Jaren Hall.
Or McCarthy.
I mean, you have to.
You
have to have McCarthy as the starter and be happy with that.
That's the
plan
given.
B.
I mean, you've been comfortable with Mullins as your backup before. That's not necessarily changing.
Yeah, but now we have new data on Mullins, which is
wait a minute. Were the Cardinals comfortable with their
4-interception game
when they traded Dobbs?
The Cardinals were not
benching.
trying to win. I don't think in any serious. They had Kyler. They also had Kyler coming back.
They had Kyler come back.
But their plan B was who after Kyler? Were they comfortable?
It's the Northwestern quarterback, right?
If somebody started one game and it was horrible.
Oh, yes. Who was that?
I think he was from Northwestern.
Man.
You guys can look it up.
Northwestern.
It's like a late round rookie. That it was
Clayton
weird
Tune.
Clayton Tune, yes.
Houston.
Houston's Clayton Tune.
Hilarious.
But yeah, you have new data on Nick Mullins, and the new data is that in Minnesota he's bad. Like I don't know what. It's a little bit different than locking into him at the beginning of last offseason.
I will say this: if we end up in a situation where like Darnold's hurt and McCarthy's not ready yet, you can sign me up for 3 or 4 games of Nick Mullins. I am absolutely glued to my TV for that.
Yeah,
I will have
exciting.
lots of fun.
400 yards.
He'll pull it up.
Not betting on him. I'm taking no money lines, but I will watch it.
One of them
Well,
will
I mean,
cash.
You'll take a yardage over, I think.
Yeah.
Like
And an
like you'll take a
interception
player
is-
prop.
over.
Yeah, some prize
over.
picks interception action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Sliding
crummy as the
scale,
results
2.5.
were, I'm actually more bought in on Mullins than I was last year, even though he didn't win a game. It's weird. I've got a weird
More body in as in more excited to
More-
watch him play, because that I
eager.
understand.
Yes.
Interesting. Because he
But
was
not, like-
the exact same guy in San Francisco. There is, like, this is who he's always been.
that I understand now. I understand.
Yeah.
that.
I understand.
He's been, the light has been shined.
Yeah, he has been illuminated. We got to move on to the next question. That was good though. Thank you for indulging me. Health statuses of T.J. Hawkinson and Andrew Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel, I don't know as much about coming off the Liz Frank, which occurred in January. I tend to think that they were just holding him out until camp. They'll probably take him easy during the ramp-up period. He'll get some vet days. T.J. Hawkinson, I think, is playing sometime between week 5 and week. Well, actually, no, because the bye is week 6. So I think either he comes back and plays week 5 when he's eligible, or more likely hold him until after the bye and play him in week 7. That's my gut on Hawkinson.
Yeah. The news that he will start on IR instead of PUP is more optimistic,
Which is 3
didn't
weeks?
used to be the case. Yeah, it's 3, which means it's 3 weeks now. It means that they think that there's a chance he would be ready week 4. I don't think that he will be ready week 4. That would be a pretty crazy timeline considering like when he actually got his surgery. But the fact that like weeks 4, 5, 6 or games 4, 5, 6 are actually in question here, I guess implies that there is an optimism. It's no guarantee or anything like that, but yeah, that
Yeah, I mean,
the fact that they care to want that flexibility, I don't know, feels like it's a
Let's
little-
say Van Ginkel. Let's say they were both on the IR and they came back week 4, week 5-ish. Which one worries you more? Which one's more? I don't know, not depressing, but just like worries you more for that side of the ball, the offense with Hawkinson out, or right? 100%.
Yeah,
right?
Hawkinson means a lot more to the
Flores,
offense. than
I
Van
feel
Ginkel
like
means to the
okay,
defense.
Flores
Especially
will
if
still
Dallas
figure
Turner's like ready to
something out.
go.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Flores
yeah.
will
Like that's the thing, Van
Dallas
Ginkel
Turner.
might lose his job here.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Yeah, is that like with Van Ginkel, you don't even know that he is a starter, right? With Hawkinson, it's like, oh, he plays like a pivotal role in the
Like, he's-
offense. Like,
Yeah,
the way
he's
the-
like a
the offense is
load-bearing
structured.
pillar
Guy.
for the
They
offense.
need them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need
Yeah. Like it is gonna be a lot different when he gets back, but with Van Ginkel, yeah, he might just like turn into the rotational role that you thought you had earmarked for Dallas Turner, but Dallas Turner did a couple cool spin moves and now he gets the job.
Yeah, and we've talked about this at length, and this is number 6. The wide receiver 3 depth will get exposed without Hawkinson. Who knows? Addison could be serving a suspension for, one or more of those games as well. That could really expose that depth. If you had to place a bet now, who's your wide receiver 3?
Brandon Powell.
Oh, it's Powell.
Powell would be.
I don't want to say
minus
Powell
one.
with a bullet or by any means.
What are the odds
but like,
on Powell?
I
Can't
just
ping
don't know.
Brandon Powell. I like he won that
No.
job by being good in camp. So I don't know. I guess it stands to reason to say that that's a tough out if you're Jalen Naylor trying to beat him out or Trent Sherfield. or anything like that.
I think it's very likely Powell, but given that all three of you said Powell, I'm going to say Jalen Naylor.
Well, okay. Well, I was
I
going
don't
to
think
ask
that's a
all
bad
three of
guess.
you outside. Once you get past Powell, who's Powell's biggest threat? Do we all agree it's Jalen Naylor?
Naylor for sure.
Yeah.
And with Naylor, you have to believe in that last year he was injured and it just ruined the whole year, and you have to throw your last year
Yeah.
out. Even
I
after
still
he
think
got
they like-
back,
Which
they
is-
did not
yeah,
give him a
because-
real role.
I still
Like they
think-
didn't
because
have
when he got
him
back,
really
yeah.
playing wide receiver, and that's why he didn't get any catches. So
Yep.
like he was on decoy duty basically anytime he got in. And then once I think Powell was hurt for a second, that was like the only reason he got in. And then once they had enough receivers to come back, and KJ Osborne was back off that nasty hit he took in Atlanta, then Naylor was like banished back to the bench / special teams. He's got to get past that. And I don't know if that was, well, you've been injured, you're still recovering, you missed a whole bunch of game plan stuff, you're just not here like really with what we've been doing, so it's fine, chill out. Or if that's, hey, we were really excited about you for camp, but we actually aren't seeing what we thought we were seeing, and you're just
right.
on
Yeah,
wide receiver
the risk
5.
is
Like,
that
it's hard
the
to know.
second thing. Yeah.
But if it's
I
not
think-
the second thing, and it was just, hey, you're injured, and it just kind of sucks right now, but it's, we got a momentum thing going on. Yeah, come into camp, go prove yourself, do your thing, maybe you win the job. I don't think it's out of the question at all.
Yeah. Brandon
There's going to be a
Powell's
lot
good.
of
He's good
opportunities
at
for these
receiver.
guys.
I like him.
Yeah.
Dark horses, Tristan Jackson and Thayer Thomas.
This might be the year Tristan Jackson cracks the roster.
Yeah, it's a make or break year, I think, for him.
Yeah.
I'm,
it ain't this
I'm
year,
less enthused about him than the rest
Like, just
of you are.
because, if you're going to keep 6, which you might, especially if TJ Hawkinson's not on the 53 to start, if you're going to keep 6, he kind of feels like he would be the 6th.
Oh, that's Malik Knowles, definitely, right, Luke?
Oh, 100%.
That, yeah.
Gold jacket, green jacket. Yeah.
Let's not knock Trent Sherfield.
I got Sherfield as the 5th one.
Yeah,
he's
like
honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I
capable.
just don't know a lot about Trent Sherfield yet. Hoping to see him up close and personal, maybe go to a couple practices at TCO, but I'm
One
saving
of my favorite entries this year in the Everyman series. You should go listen to that episode of Locked On Vikings.
Love that. Yeah.
Wherever you get your podcasts. Luke Braun, prepare your trivia concoction. That's coming up on the Minnesota Football Party. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. There's a lot going on in life, and sometimes we look at people around us and we compare and despair. Comparison's the thief of joy. It's easy to envy. Might look like they have it all together and we don't. But you know how people can project things in social media. That's not always real life. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others appear to have, so you can start living your best life. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched up with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Make sure that it all works for you. Stop comparing. Start focusing with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. All right, please subscribe to the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. Time for Vikings trivia. Luke Braun, give us the rules.
All right, this is going to be a kind of a category game. I will name a category. You will shout out players who fit that category. You get 1 point for every player you shout out. No saying your name or anything, just shout them out. I will set some kind of limit of time if you can't think of them, so this doesn't take forever. So, for example, if I said players who went to Michigan, and you would shout out J.J. McCarthy, Josh Metellus, and you get a point for each one of those that you shout out. You get it?
Yeah, I'm going to be bad at this.
Any punishment for wrong guesses?
No.
How about if you get it wrong, you just can't guess the rest of that question or round?
Nah.
It'll be fine. The first category is first round players from other teams. Players that other teams drafted in the first round.
Jake Long.
N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry, that's one for Sam. What'd you say, Luke?
Jake Long.
Wait.
I'm sorry, current Vikings.
Yeah, because I was like, Jalen
he's not on the
last
team?
year would have been. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
TJ Hawkinson.
Jake Long. Let me check the roster, but I don't think he's listed.
You guys all
TJ
took that so
Hawkinson.
seriously, too. You're like,
TJ
what, Jake Long?
Hawkinson.
Yep, that's 2 for Sam.
Okay. Is there more?
Yeah.
There are 2 others.
Dalton Reisner.
I was going to say, was Dalton Reisner?
Reisner's a second
Nice,
rounder.
dude.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, second rounder. Okay.
Dan Feeney? Was he a first rounder?
He's
No,
not a
second
first
rounder.
rounder.
God.
I'm in my head here.
Boy.
I think he was a third rounder because of the injury concerns. I remember that now.
Yeah, he was a third rounder.
Byron Murphy?
Yeah. No way.
Second rounder, I
Top 10?
think.
I think he was barely in the second round,
He
actually.
was top second round.
Yeah.
But I'll take it if.
But if it is. Yeah.
But if you want to bend the rules.
Jerry
there.
Tillery.
Jerry
Nice.
Tillery,
Good
there's one
pick.
for a reef.
Oh, very
Okay.
good. How many? Can you tell us the number that we're shooting for? How many
There's
there
one
are?
left. right?
There's one left, unless I forgot about Byron Murphy.
I don't
But there's
think so.
one.
I think he's.
Either way, there's one left. No, 33rd overall, Byron Murphy. Just barely.
Wow, come on now.
Prized pick on the second day.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay,
Sam
one
Darnold.
Yeah, there you go. Sam Darnold. Can't believe that was the last one to go. So that is 2 for Arif, 2 for Sam. Nothing yet for Luke
Well,
Spinman.
Jake Long and Byron Murphy, but I get it. I get it. Okay.
That was Inman's category too, draft stuff.
Yeah,
That was a
that was the only draft one we're going to have. The next category. This is an interesting one because I don't know if one of these players is on the roster, so I'm just going to say it doesn't count. But there are 5 former Super Bowl winners on the roster if you count Cam Akers. But I don't know if he's actually on the team yet, so he
Brandon
doesn't
Powell.
count for now. There are 4 others.
Brandon Powell.
That is 1.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Aaron Jones? Was he on that? No, no way.
No.
No.
I'm not on that team. Huh? I feel like
Is Juwan Williams still on the roster?
He is not.
Oh.
Jihad Ward, Giants.
Jihad Ward was not on. Jihad Ward's been on a bunch of teams, no Super Bowl teams though.
Camu Grugier Hill?
Camu Grugier Hill, 2017
Oh, nice.
Eagles.
Wow, nice.
Nikhil Harry?
Barely no. He
Wow.
was not. He was drafted in 2019 to the Patriots, but they have not had their glory since then. Missed it by a year.
Shaq Griffin?
I was just gonna say that, but no.
There's no way.
no,
No way.
no.
No way.
We have
All
3
these guys
left.
on teams
Two
that had
left.
Super Bowl legacies, but joined them too late.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Josh Oliver.
No Josh Oliver, Ravens and Jaguars, but no Super Bowls. There. What'd you say?
Trent
Sam?
Sherfield?
No, he's Cardinals and
He's
stuff.
probably-
He's been around a weird
We have
team.
2
He was
left
on.
on-
He was on the Niners before. I think he went. To
Yeah,
it,
but they didn't win, right?
I'm just thinking of like journeyman Quessenberry. I have no idea.
no.
he's just
I mean, that's good, but I also looked
9
up Questenberry. I was like, "There's no way, right?" But yeah, no,
Right.
he's bounced around a bunch of
Jonah Williams, Rams.
Jonah Williams, Rams.
Oh,
Luke Inman is on the board.
Yeah.
Who's the hardest?
There's one more, unless I forgot somebody.
One more.
Pipe in, Chad, but nobody look at it. Help me out.
Yeah, but nobody look at it. Oh man. Yeah, I'm just people from other teams. AJ Green,
Robert Tunyon. I don't know.
No
Big
Tunyon.
Bobby Tunyon.
No NFC North rings in a while.
Right.
True.
Blake Cashman, probably not.
No Texans.
Gaskin.
Oh, that'd be a good guess, but no Miles Gaskin.
Boy, good question.
So we can't guess Cam Akers. He is on the roster, by the way. Can't guess Cam Akers.
He is. Is he like officially listed now? Is like
Pretty sure he's officially listed now.
because I feel like it's still like
But yeah,
pending a physical they haven't taken.
Yeah.
Am I
maybe-
forgetting Jonathan Bullard played somewhere good? No.
Might as well, yeah, guess Jonathan Bullard.
I don't think Jonathan
think
Bullard
so.
has, but let me double check that.
I
Did,
He was
uh,
on 49ers teams.
Jerry
mean,
Tillery
did-
only played
did
for
Tiller-
the Chargers and the Raiders.
Chargers and
so-
Raiders.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Mullins was not on a Super Bowl winner.
Locked On Vikings everydayers will know all of these. Everyman Series enthusiasts.
Man, AJ Green.
I already
No,
guessed
it's already been guessed.
Okay. All right. I'm waving the white flag.
Are we- 10
I have
seconds.
No idea. I have no
Johnny
idea.
Munt.
Johnny Munt on the 2021
What?
Rams.
Wow!
Wow.
It's literally
Tight ends.
4 2021 Rams and Kamu Grugier-Hill.
Wow. That is good.
All right, those were the easy ones. Now it's going to get harder.
What?
The next category,
What's the
there are
score?
3 players
What time we
on the
got?
Vikings
Yeah,
that
what's
are
the score?
alumni of various spring leagues. We're talking XFL, USFL,
Holy
UFL. There are
smokes. This
3 spring league alumni on the Vikings.
John Parker Romo.
That is one.
That's a good one. Abraham Beauplan?
No, he's an undrafted guy from Marshall. He was just
Oh, no,
straight up
yeah.
rookie last year.
Yeah. Seth Vernon?
I do not believe Seth Vernon was, but let me double check that.
Okay. Spring League.
Ty James.
No, he's a rookie.
Rookie.
Yeah. Okay.
Samus Reyes?
Samus Reyes astoundingly did not play in any.
That's nuts. He's
yeah.
the ideal version
Yeah.
of that. Okay.
Also, a phenomenal story. Loved doing his Everyman Series entry. An episode maybe you would want to check out. No, Seth Vernon was kind of just hanging out with the Falcons for a while, and then just was a free agent. He did not play in a spring league.
Okay. Man, it feels like this should be more up my alley, but I just stopped.
I was gonna say this feels like a Reef's wheelhouse here, but
it's been a bit. Like we no longer have like those like crazy linebackers and edge rushers from like the AAF. Oh man. Oh, this is very annoying. Luke was right that I'm annoyed.
Yep.
Jalen Redmond. Oh my God, Jalen Redmond.
There we go, Jalen Redmond. We got one
never
remaining.
got that. Wow,
God,
that's good.
So that's 4
It is
Arif,
neck and neck
4
here.
Sam, 1 Luke, I think.
5 Arif, 4 Sam, 1 Luke.
That's right.
I will say though, Luke, don't despair. There's a bonus round at the end where you can make up all the points.
Ooh, watch out, boys.
All the points.
Yep.
Not Theo Jackson. No way.
Not Theo Jackson.
Okay.
He was a Titans draft pick and then got waiver claimed and has been a Viking ever since.
I got nothing here.
AJ Green. Just guess him every time.
Not AJ Green.
Definitely
Jihad
not
Ward.
Definitely not Najee, right?
Nope.
Definitely not.
Nope,
No, he's
nope.
always been on the Vikings.
Nope.
So not Jihad
Jihad
Ward.
Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been a journeyman, but no spring league.
Andrew DePaula.
No, Andrew DePaulo definitely bounced around, but in his journeyman days, spring leagues weren't really a thing yet. And he's
And then since then, yeah, he's been. Not Trent Sherfield. No way.
not Trent Sherfield. I'll give you a hint. He joined the team last year.
Last year. Wow, so he made the roster. Good for him. Or practice squad, whatever. Good for him.
And I'll put it down to 10 seconds here.
Made the team last year.
Last call?
I mean,
It's Lucky Jackson.
Oh, duh.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
yards per reception leader in the XFL. God.
Yeah, DC Defenders legend.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Okay.
It really sucks that when you said his name, I like remembered a stat about him too.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys didn't come up with that.
And a potential returner, right? Like with these particular rules.
Did enough to hang out on the practice squad all last year. And
Oh man.
maybe
Upset with
even
myself.
can take a step forward.
All right, next round.
The next one is going to be very difficult. It was 4. Unfortunately, we lost one. This is JUCO players. Kyrie Jackson, of course, famously a JUCO player. There are 3 others on the roster.
Nick Mullins.
Is Nick Mullins JUCO?
No, I'm just shooting out names. I don't know.
Look it
Jaquan
up.
Roy?
Pretty. Say again?
Jaquan Roy?
No. Just an LSU guy, I believe.
Yeah, this one's tough.
This is
Yeah, it's a
tough.
tough one.
Is Mike Hughes still on the team?
Yeah.
Is Cordero Patterson still on the team?
Right. That's the first right where my mind went.
You're thinking in the right.
Flash? Oh, okay.
You got to think of
Okay.
think of their story. Think of people that had
Yep.
stories everybody wanted to write an article on.
Yeah, I don't like writing stories, so
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
There's one that's like very deep on this roster that I think if you had to name 90 players, he might be the 90th you would name.
Oh, wow.
So it's probably not
Deshaun
Sam Reyes.
Jones.
Well, there's other ones that it's not Samus Reyes actually. Wildly no JUCO for him and no.
Gabe Murphy
Right, yeah.
before UCLA?
No, I think he went right to UCLA.
Yeah, with his twin. Yeah.
Lewis Seen?
Mackay.
Makai Blackman. There you go.
Nice.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Sam ties it up at 5.
Levi Drake Rodriguez?
No, he was at Texas A&M Commerce, but that's not
Yeah.
quite JUCO.
Yeah, that's not too JUCO, yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Camus?
No, I do not believe Camus Grugier Hill was in JUCO. I'm just double checking all these, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, Eastern Illinois.
I mean, Cameron Bynum seems like the kind of guy.
No, Cal alum through and
The
through.
whole way. Okay. Najee Thompson? I gotta
Not
stop
Najee
choosing
Thompson.
small school players because that actually seems
Georgia
less
Southern.
likely.
Yeah, because that's kind of the decision is especially if you don't have the grades for like D1, you either go D2 or you try the JUCO thing.
Right.
Josh Oliver, or was he always at San Jose or San Diego State?
Yeah,
Whatever it
not
was?
Josh Oliver.
What about the
not-
Gink? Did he go
Gink.
JUCO?
The Gink.
Gink
I do
there?
not believe so.
Dink the gink. Oh boy.
These are a bunch of players I didn't look up, but I'm
Ivan Pace? No.
no Cincinnati.
Was
Oh
Brian
my
O'Neill
goodness, the
always-
Gink is one. You got one I
Oh,
didn't get.
nice! Look at that.
Nice.
He transferred to Iowa Western Community College. I actually haven't done his Everyman series yet.
Sam
so
was
you
like,
got
I
me.
just Googled him. It said he was.
Brian O'Neill.
No,
Yeah, just a
Pittsburgh.
position change. Okay.
Yeah,
Ed Ingram.
Not Bradbury. Definitely not Ed Ingram.
not Ingram. I'll give it 10 more seconds.
Dan Feeney? Before it was like, what, Illinois or Indiana or something like that? No, okay.
Boy.
Doug Nestor? I gotta stop
Not Doug
picking-
Nestor.
Yeah.
Every time he says his name.
All right, we're gonna call it there. The one I was looking for. There are two I was looking for were Jihad Ward,
Oh man.
was a JUCO guy, and KJ Cloyd, undrafted rookie. I don't think that one was gonna come up.
I wasn't gonna get
Fair
that
enough.
guy at all.
One last one here. I know we're kind of up on time. There are 3 identical twins on the Vikings. Who are they?
Gabe Murphy.
Yep.
Now I'm done.
You definitely know these ones. These are not obscure undrafted rookies.
Shaq Griffin.
That is one.
Jihad Ward?
No.
He has a brother. Oh, man.
I actually didn't know this last guy was a twin, weirdly, until I started looking it up.
Huh.
Interesting.
Big family guy, family at all his games.
It's not Justin.
Andre
We would've
Carter.
seen that in the
Didn't come up
documentary.
Not
any
Andre Carter.
receiver.
Big fan. You're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh yeah, of course I know that." Byron Murphy.
Yep.
Okay.
Not Byron Murphy. But I'm definitely going to say it, and you guys are going to be like, oh my God.
Okay. Family at the games.
Wait, Cam Bynum?
Cam Bynum. I already
Nope.
said that, but no. Josh
Adam
Metellus.
Adam Thielen. God, if we didn't know that detail about Adam Thielen's life, that would be crazy.
I will give you the same hint. He joined the team this year.
Grenard?
Nope.
Cashman.
No.
Gink.
Not the Gink.
JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy.
Sam Darnold. No.
Not Sam Darnold.
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones? Really?
Once I
Yeah,
said
Aaron
it,
Jones
I
is a
was
twin.
like, Aaron Jones.
Aaron and Alvin Jr., identical twins.
Oh.
All right.
All 3 pairs of twins made a pact with each other headed into college that they would go to the same school. Greatly affecting recruiting.
Yeah, I mean,
So Alvin
this
Alvin
happens a
got the
lot.
dad's name, and Aaron had to settle for just Aaron.
You recruit
So-
the twin that you don't want so that you can get the twin you do want. That happens a lot.
We have a tie.
What?
So this may come down to the bonus round, and I also have a tiebreaker if we end up needing it. The bonus round is 1 point for any Vikings current player's middle name that you can tell me.
What?
There's one very famous one that I was asked this question in a mailbag, and after I did it, I forgot about it and felt really bad.
There's one famous one? Man.
Yeah. Any middle name that you can say, I will give you.
Yeah.
Van.
No, that's not.
Do you have a catalog in front of you of all 90?
I mean, I have Google in front of me.
Oh, okay. So you don't. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing is, okay, I'm just gonna do the stupid ones. Drake.
No, you need to tell me who Levi
Drake Rodriguez.
Is that his
Is that his
middle
real
name?
No,
Or is that
that
part of his
not
last
his
name?
middle name.
No.
No, I think his first name is Levi Drake. I think it's a different.
It's a hyphenated
setup.
name.
But yeah, no, I'm just screwing around.
So
I
we
don't
can't
know.
just shout out John. And
No, you have to tell me who the player is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say so and so's middle name is.
Yeah. This is
We're gonna know. That's the worst part. Is that when
John
he says
Parker
it-
Romo Parker.
Right. We're just doing the stupid ones. I love it.
Let me see if that's a hyphenated name or if that's his actual middle name.
Pro Football Reference.
I don't. Yeah. Does he have a page on Pro Football Reference? He hasn't made a team before.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Okay, is this going to be a scenario where the name that they go by is actually their middle name?
I have no idea. I
My
genuinely.
answer probably violates the spirit of the game by just going with Parker there.
Just go
Oh, and Drake for Levi Drake Rodriguez doesn't?
Van. That's
Andrew Van
green
Ginkel,
light.
yeah.
Green light. Andre Carter the second. Carter.
Yeah, Drake Carter the second.
So,
boy.
Braun, you're saying there's a
I got
notable
nothing
middle
here,
name
man.
that we should know.
I don't.
that you should. Yeah, that was kind of a thing when we all
There
found out
is?
about it.
Oh,
It was because it's funny.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Now
do you
like
have it?
no, the part of my brain that remembers it being funny has lit up, but not the part of my brain that has access to why it was funny. Right.
Oh, that's funny.
Andrew
Oh, this sucks.
John Wilkes Booth.
I like it. Let's give Sam the point and the win. Let's get out of here.
Wait,
Let's
wait,
wrap
Let's
this
let's
up.
move on.
No, that
Let's
was
move
good.
on to the tiebreaker. How about? And we'll give you this between the two of you.
What was the?
It's
what
one
was the
question.
big
There's one answer.
What was the big one
Look.
though? Tell us.
Cortez Thaddeus Ham.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
know that.
Look, arguably, J.J. McCarthy picked up a football earlier in life than anyone on the Vikings, as his dad called him a quarterback before he was even born. But who on the Vikings picked it up latest in life?
Jaron Hall.
Not Jaron Hall. Like started playing football. Most of these guys started playing football at 5, 6, 7
Oh,
years old.
Samus Reyes.
Samus Reyes, that is correct.
Nice.
Picked
Well
up
done.
football for the first time officially at 24 years old. He was a basketball player until then,
All right.
Great guy. Great
which is
story.
why he didn't do any of the
Family
spring
guy,
league stuff.
locker
He went
room guy,
directly into the
media
pros.
guy, community guy.
I win
Just
again.
Phenomenal
All right.
story. Arif does it again.
Arif got there.
Well,
We
don't
all
sound
know
so
that
sad.
John
Jesus.
Parker Romo really should have won it for me, but that's
That's why I'm conflicted, because I think that is his middle name. I think you got it.
Wait, but Levi
But I also
Drake
wanted to
Rodriguez
ask the
doesn't count?
tiebreaker question, because that's a fun fact about Samus Reyes. So we got there.
Did we check the Levi Drake page? Levi Drake Rodriguez.
I don't know how to tell with
As if
with
I don't
either
have
of these
enough to
guys.
study every draft
It's
season.
not- it's
now,
not
next draft
hyphenated.
season, I'm studying middle names now too. Along
It's
with
not his
PFF
full
grades
name
and
is
everything else.
Levi Drake Rodriguez. It's not hyphenated. It's just when you look at like a roster listing, it'll list his first name as Levi Drake, but there's no hyphen. So if John Parker Romo counts, Levi Drake Rodriguez definitely counts. That's
Levi
all I'm
Drake
saying.
Rodriguez, middle name. Let's see what Google comes up with.
Just gonna Google middle name.
All right. That was fun, Braun. Thank you. We appreciate
So
it.
you
stuff,
Googled
man.
it and didn't
That
like
was
the
fun.
answer. Got it.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
Red team go. Red team go.
Matt B in the comments. We talked about that about 20 minutes ago. Go back and watch that. Go back and watch the whole episode. We got into Jordan Addison, training camp questions, and Luke Braun's crazy trivia. Luke Inman, Luke Braun, Arif Hassan. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for watching the Minnesota Football Party. You can listen to us on the Locked On Vikings podcast page. Talk to you on Thursday.